Hello everyone, I am Verde and I am back with another Rule of Hacks video. Today we got our first unlock, which tells us how many. One cool thing about unlocks, they also tell you the total number of that thing you did even after you unlocked it. This is something interesting. Like if you murdered billions of creatures, they would show here. So anyway, we are playing Roll of Hacks yet again. What did we do from the last time we spoke? Well, I worked a bit the attack speed of the cannons. Now they are using continuous method instead of discrete one. So what does that mean? It means that every single percentage of attack speed matters because they do not fire anymore in a discrete manner. They do not fire like once of every 3 ticks. They do not fire once every 52 ticks. They do not fire once every any amount of ticks. They now fire. They now are able to fire at non-integer tick intervals and fire more than once per tick. That means that attack speed is now way stronger than it used to be, because when you already had low attack time, it would be way heavier. You would have to have way more upgrades in order to actually get any benefit from it. And now in every point of attack speed matters. So, and well, what else? I From yesterday to today I did a lot of optimizations. Those were the target, just because we got some lag issues at the end of the game, and I do not like lag issues. I do think they are a lack of polish. So I fixed those lag issues so I can play the game further without actually threatening the life of my computer. Have I mentioned that once like 2 weeks ago I did one optimization so bad it literally crashed my whole PC. Like I don't even know how it happened, but Windows just stopped responding, and it is pretty hard to do that. Even if you want to, most game engines will not allow you to crash Windows. I know this one does not allow me to crash Windows, but I did it anyway. So there's that. But ever since, the game is running every day a little bit smoother than the day before, and if this keeps going for a long time, we will all be way more happy about stuff. Yeah. And what else was optimized? Oh yeah, the routine disguise, the function that they use in order to get the closest building was updated. This function now uses two algorithms. They always return the same result, but which algorithm is used is based on a small heuristic. Basically, if there are too many buildings, they use an algorithm that does not grow with number of buildings. If they are too few, they just check every building. And I did some tests in order to set some constants for those heuristics. But now they basically calculate which one would be slower based on the current state of the game. That is actually, they do not check that many things. They just use some guesses. They literally just guess. If they get it wrong, no problem. We wasted a few CPU cycles. If they get it right, well, great. We saved a few CPU cycles. And most of the time they actually get it right. You know. The most impact it will have it when they are in this exact situation where we knock back the creatures, because knockback does something interesting, which is reset their pathfinding. They have their pathfinding reset when they are knocked away. That is on purpose, so they can perceive that they have been knocked back, and react accordingly. Like if a creature was here and it was knocked back way over here, if it didn't update their brains, they will still want to go here when they actually could go over here. It is an edge case, but I do not like having dumb creatures. Anyway, in this situation, they will use the distance method, which is a very slow algorithm, but it only grows with distance from the creature to the nearest building. Oh, if the distance is pretty low, they actually use that algorithm. They all, of course, they do not know the distance, but they guess it. And they most of the time they guess it pretty well. I would say they guess it based on how much time they have been alive and how much is the current turret range, and whether you have used scan or not to load them. Basically, if you use cam, they are less likely that you use the distance based algorithm. Mostly because, well, you use force scanning. If you would use force scanning and they would use the distance based method, they would like the game pretty much. So that is something I also considered. But then, oh, I just realized I forgot to upload the build yesterday. Anyway. What else? Oh yeah, the sandworms were also optimized. Let me see where I can find a desert. Perhaps here. Let me try to find the desert. Okay, here it is. These guys. They were optimized. They were actually bugged. I realized that because they used to. What was the bug? Oh yes, they were checking for collision way too often. Like way more often than they should check for collision, which was something that was lagging the game pretty much. Like they would run that function more than once tick, which I do think you can already have guessed, not only make the game lag, but also increase their damage way too much. Now they're dealing their normal amount of damage. So it was a bug. It was a gameplay altering bug, and it is now fixed. And now they are way more dealable since they do not kill your buildings instantly anymore. And also, they were also checking for collision when they were underground, and that is not the design. Like, okay, that may make sense, but I don't want a creature to be invulnerable and to be able to damage your stuff at the same time. You know, if a creature is invulnerable, it should also be harmless while it is so. Because if it isn't fair, is it? Coming to think of it, I should also do something about the being able to deal damage while dead, but that's a thing from another day. But you can see here the game is much more manageable, and we are at a good amount of time here in sense of tick time. Our tick time is not taking that long, even with this amount of creatures and sandworms. That would usually crash the game. And that isn't crashing the game anymore. Or crash or lower the FPS, either crash or lowering the FPS way too much. I really wanted a range upgrade here if the game would give one to me. Game, is this asking for much? I just want a range upgrade game. Why do this to me? Let me do this while I still can, because the creatures are starting to have too much of a HP to do this. I see. Let me just protect my buildings real quickly. Oh yeah, I do not think I have mentioned it already, but I am planning on implementing an upgrade that basically that basically makes it so that building in branches like this will give you benefits, because currently, okay, it is pretty cool to have branches and stuff, but it is a nice idea to close your branches, just because it is a good idea to not have a single building be a single point of failure. That should be pretty obvious. But I do think it would be way cooler if we could have some benefit from not doing that. You know? Everything there is obvious in the game that you should do it every time. I want to create some incentive to not do it sometimes. I want for it to be sometimes, might be rarely, but at least one single time under one certain circumstance, it might be the right play. You know? I do not like that concept of something being always wrong or always right in a video game. Like, oh, it is building this way a bad thing to you? You should avoid building this way, except if you have this upgrade here, or this upgrade here, or this upgrade here. Like for instance, there is oh no, there is a downside currently of having one turret very far apart from each other. Your turrets far apart from each other. But if you, but however, if you have King of the Hill, that is not true anymore. You have a benefit from building them far apart from each other. And then you start doing like I've been doing for a while, which is building them at least a little bit further than I actually have to, in the because of a possible event of actually obtaining King of the Hill. You know, building dens is not as good as it used to be just because of the sole existence of King of the Hill. And I want most of these upgrades, most of the upgrades that change the way you build in your game, in your match, wants most of them to be tier 2. Why? Well, first of all, if you have a tier 3, you really don't want it to be, you really don't want it to be situational. You know, a tier 3 should be strong, period. And a tier 1 is far too common. So my idea for it having to be a tier 3 is the following. It is tier 3, yes. If tier 2 is the following. The tier 3, I don't want them to be situational. Basically, I don't want them to have a condition to work. They should always work, they should always be strong. The tier 1s, I mean, having them every game would make them boring. I mean, tier 1s are meant to be simple, stackable upgrades. So tier 2 is where the fun is at. And some tier 2s are actually built in to reinforce some ideas that I have in mind, like, oh, your barriers, a turret should be buried, it should be shielded up. Why? Well, no reason exactly, but it will be, you would have induction, you know. So you start shielding your turret, and you start shielding your base, which I do think is a good thing to do, because it increases a lot in the middle to the late game of how much your buildings can actually endure. It does not help that much in the very late games because you get these clouds of lurkers that just kill your stuff anyway, and it does not help them much in the, yeah, the lurker clouds are nasty. You can see here, man. And that the lurker cloud is literally murdering me because I am at 300 difficulty. Anyway, the other thing that in the early game you should really be able to shoot everything before it gets to you. That is just a norm. You know? I like that these guys are actually being able to damage my stuff, because for a really long time, I really thought that they wouldn't be. Anyway, so this was today's match, but I want to show you a little bit more today, because I want to show you the high ends of the attack speed. How does the attack speed scale now? Because before it wasn't quite possible. So let me restart the game in debug mode. But first, you'll see I've got a lot of kills here. If you look here, I got a lot of kills there. Yay! So, let me restart the game in debug mode and introduce you to the high attack speeds. So, here I am, and this is how the game looks like at actually 100 attack speed upgrades. It attacks about once per tick. Pretty normal, you know. You see, the attacks are happening about once per tick, right? Let me see if I can actually. And this is how the game looks like at about 200 attack speed upgrades. You see, that was an improvement there, a 100% improvement. If you even the songs, the sounds, they look like they feel like some actually continual sound. Now let me bump this up to a ridiculous number, like 1000. 1000 attack speed in place. You will see that now the turrets will fire. Okay, the sounds do not like it. I do think it reached the max amount of voices that I could have or something. Okay, let me just scan here so I can get my money, so I can create this. Let's look at the flow. Look at how it flows. It is just interesting, you know. And I can even throw in a little bit of multi-shot as well. I just threw in 24 stacks of multi-shot. Perhaps the game will start lagging now. Actually, no, I have to increase their turn speed. Because their accuracy is so high they aren't able to actually fire continuously. Be right back. I gave the turret 100,000 attack speed, actually turn speed, and now the game did righteously so start to lag. But look at this, you will not get to this in the regular play. Now the game did start to lag. Okay, with this is not a cloud of projectile, this is a cone. Okay, but you'll see the projectiles are actually quite optimized. This is 1000 attack speed upgrades, 25 multi-shot upgrades, and 100,000 turn speed upgrades. I just clunked that turn speed upgrade way up to 100,000 just because it does not add any overhead to the game. This is funny, really. Oh, my frames do not like these projectiles. Actually, it is explosions which are lagging the game that much. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with more features, more interesting features, more boring features, who knows. But goodbye.